Sports psychology. The fact that psychology plays an indispensable role in all facets of our life is an undeniable fact. However, the association between psychology and sports is a fairly recent one. Psychology நம்மளுடைய வாழ்க்கையில் ஏதோ ஒரு ரோலை ப்ளே பண்ணும். அதில் எந்த விதமான நம்ம மறுக்கவே முடியாத ஒரு ஃபேக்ட். அதே மாதிரி சைக்காலஜிக்கும் ஸ்போர்ட்ஸுக்கும் ஒரு தொடர்பு இருக்குது. அது ரீசெண்டாக சொல்லப்பட்டிருக்கு. when we think of sports out, minds are filled with images and visions of massive stadiums, cheering crowds, players representing different nations and a never-ending variety of balls. The images of strength, vigor, passion and sportsman spirit are secondary to our eyes. We hardly wonder about the people in the background whose hard work and effort is as important as the game of the place. It's very much unlikely that the camera would zoom to the face of the sports psychologist or therapist. Therefore, this chapter intends to bring to your awareness the workings and details behind the ground. அதாவது இதில் நம்ம என்ன பார்க்க போகிறோன்னா, ஒரு ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் மேனுக்கு பின்னாடி இருக்கக்கூடிய கிரவுண்டுக்கு பின்னாடி இருக்கக்கூடிய விஷயங்களை பற்றி நம்ம அவங்களுடைய ஒர்க்கிங்ஸை பற்றி நம்ம இதில் பார்க்க போகிறோம். அந்த சைக்காலஜி என்னென்னு பார்க்க போகிறோம். Introduction and a brief history of sports psychology. Sports is generally considered a primary physical endeavor utilizing bodily resources to complete a variety of specialized demanding physical tasks. Physical attributes such as speed, strength, stamina, fitness, coordination, agility, flexibility and resilience are important components in competitive sports. As the physical components are important in sports performance, scientists have investigated biochemical, physiological, nutritional, metabolic, epidemiological, biochemical, pharmacological and medical aspects of sport. Applied practitioners in exercise physiology, physiotherapy, sport biomechanics, sports medicine, sports nutrition, strength and conditioning and other disciplines have translated research findings into intervention designed to enhance the physical performance capabilities of the athletes. It is now widely accepted that sports performance is influenced not only by physical attributes but also by psychological factors. Some athletes seem to have a mental edge over other athletes with comparable physical characteristics and training backgrounds. Some athletes perform better under pressure, implement strategies more effectively, tolerate discomfort better, concentrate more intensely, identify more creative solutions to challenging sports situations, push themselves harder, learn new skills more quickly or prepare themselves for competition better than their physically simply peers. Issues associated with the mental advantage gained by these athletes fall squarely within the domain of sports psychology. If psychology is a scientific study of behavior and mental process, then sports psychology is a scientific study of behavior and mental process in the context of sports. ஸோ மொத்தத்தில் ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் சைக்காலஜின்றது என்னன்னு கேட்டிங்கன்னா, இப்போ சைக்காலஜின்றது சயின்டிஃபிக் ஸ்டடி ஆஃப் பிஹேவியர் அண்ட் மென்டல் ப்ராசஸ்னால், ஸ்போர்ட்ஸ் சைக்காலஜி இஸ் த சயின்டிஃபிக் ஸ்டடி ஆஃப் behavior and mental process in the context of sport. ஓகேங்களா, இதுதான் இவ்வளோ விஷயங்கள் இப்போ சொல்லப்படுது. The popularity of sports psychology both as an academic discipline and an applied practice has been in existence as a field just over a century. Sports psychology is especially within the broader science of psychology. It emphasizes the relationship between psychological and behavioral principles that exert an impact on sports and exercise performance and its application. Although sports psychology is just over a century old, it did exist in some form for almost as long as psychology itself. There are a couple of notable experiments that were conducted in psychological laboratories during late 19th and early 20th centuries with the focus of sports. The first recorded study in sports psychology took place at the close of the 19th century by Norman Triplett. Triplett investigated the phenomenon of social facilitation in which performance is affected by the presence of others. He demonstrated that cyclists tended to cycle faster when racing against other cyclists than they did alone. Triplett did not pursue further sport-related research, however, and it was not until the 1920s that the discipline of sports psychology was formally established. In 1925, Coleman Griffith set up the Athletic Research Laboratory at the University of Illinois. He was widely regarded as the father of sports psychology. Griffith worked closely with the University of Illinois football team, studying how factors such as psychomotor skills and personality variables related to performance and learning of athletic skills. Due to financial reasons, the research in athletics laboratory eventually was closed, which led to Griffith becoming a sports psychologist with the Chicago Cubs baseball team. Throughout his time with the Chicago Cubs, Griffith examined the players and completed a series of sports to the club owner. He developed interest in sports psychology as a result of understanding the collegiate athletes in his initial psychology classes in the university. His interaction led to set up his laboratory to conduct scientific research of athletics psych. He wrote a couple of books on athlete and coaching themes. Between the 1930s and 1960s, at least in the Western world, there was little activity in the field of sports psychology. Sports psychology reappeared in USA in 1960s and was taken up in Britain and the rest of Europe a few years later. The area has since expanded worldwide to become one of the fastest growing new academic disciplines. Later in 1967, a group of physical education in Texas at US with an interest in psychological aspects of sports was set up by the North American Society for the Psychology of Sports and Physical Activity. It is considered to be the first professional body devoted to sports psychology. Now the body is known as Association of Applied Sports Psychology, which has over thousands of members responsible for providing training guidelines for university programs in sports psychology. It is responsible for framing the ethical guidelines for professional behaviors of faculty members, researchers, and practitioners in the field of sports psychology. The body also involves coordinating its training program for certified consultants in the field, which assures the credibility on talented professionals and ensure individuals who had rigorous training standards. Interestingly, until very recently, the study of sports psychology was firmly located in the domain of sports science as opposed to within psychology. This may be changing, however, in 1986, the American Psychological Association officially recognized sports psychology as a branch of psychology, and in 1993, the British Psychological Society formed a sport and exercise psychology section, which has now become a full division of society.